Here's your wrestling news for July 19th, 2022, and we're kicking off today with Raw as Kevin Owens returned to the Red Brand last night in his first appearance in nearly a month. Owens' absence is yet to be explained on TV, as there were no rumors of an injury of any sort, but what was implied last night is that his feud with Ezekiel appears to have been dropped. Sure, Owens made reference to both Ezekiel and Elias last night, but he didn't fixate on the two like in recent months, something that's made for extremely entertaining television. Instead, the former Universal Champion is simply back on TV, and while it's good to see the talented superstar back, we get the feeling WWE has little planned for the Canadian prizefighter. Raw also saw Damian Priest defeat Rey Mysterio, and Dominic, albeit briefly, side with the Judgment Day. The decision to join wasn't exactly Dominic's, as he reluctantly agreed to join just so the group would stop attacking his father. Dominic may now hold the record for the shortest run of anyone in a stable, as he was told that things don't work that way, and he was also attacked by Damian Priest and Finn Balor. Next week, the two teams are set to face off at Madison Square Garden, and it'll be Rey Mysterio's 20th anniversary of his WWE debut. This week's Raw made it seem like there's no chance of Dominic turning heel, but we can't rule out WWE doing exactly that just to swerve the fans on next week's broadcast. The show also saw Sarah Schreiber interview The Miz to ask for his thoughts on Logan Paul, but the segment was not really about Miz or Paul. Instead, Veer Mahaan appeared to randomly stare down Schreiber and would then look to the camera, smile, and say "boo" before breaking into laughter. After the segment, Miz insinuated that Veer had developed a crush on Schreiber before proceeding to talk about Logan Paul. The USA Network Twitter also insinuated a romantic relationship between the two, so we imagine we'll be seeing more of Veer Reiber, as the network has dubbed the new budding couple. Now, for a former US champion, current Money in the Bank holder, and personal pick of Mr. McMahon, Theory sure seems to come up short in matches a lot. Last week, Dolph Ziggler returned to TV to cost Theory his match, and on this week's Raw, the cocky young superstar was super-kicked by the cocky veteran superstar. Theory has a US title match booked for SummerSlam and has vowed to cash in Money in the Bank on either Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar, depending on who holds the undisputed WWE Universal title by the end of the night. With a feud with Ziggler budding, it looks unlikely that Theory will be leaving SummerSlam as world champion, and expect a lengthy program with the show-off in the coming weeks. Speaking of superstars coming up short, Seth Rollins has spent much of 2022 on the losing end of things, but nobody seems to notice for two distinct reasons. First, most of Rollins' losses are coming at WWE untelevised live events, and the losses he suffered on TV have done little to damage his strong heel character. With that in mind, expect Rollins to take another defeat at SummerSlam at the hands of Riddle, and while it was the Architect who was standing tall this week, the reactions Riddle is getting shows that WWE has huge plans for him. It may not be Riddle's time yet, but it is coming, and expect Seth Rollins to be another step on the original Bros' journey to the top of WWE. Now, Daniel Cormier is a legend in the world of MMA, being inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame last month. In MMA, Cormier holds an impressive 22-3-0 record, and he could soon be taking his talents to WWE. Speaking on the recent installment of Twitter Spaces with Monster Energy, Cormier was asked about a lot of things and said he is in contact with a lot of people from WWE. The UFC star said he speaks with Triple H and that Julius Creed, part of the Creed brothers in NXT 2.0, is a close friend of his. Cormier apparently even received an offer to work with the Creed brothers, but the fighter explained that his schedule doesn't allow him to find the time to do it. We all know to never say never when it comes to WWE, and although Cormier is convinced that he doesn't have the time for a career in WWE, we're confident that the company will do what they can to bring yet another huge star on board. Speaking of UFC stars, Brock Lesnar has forged a path of destruction in WWE, toppling some of wrestling's biggest stars. John Cena, Randy Orton, and The Undertaker are just some names to fall to the Beast incarnate on screen, but the Beast has been able to hold his own when the cameras aren't rolling. Speaking to Bill Apter, WWE Hall of Famer turned AEW personality Mark Henry recalled challenging Lesnar to a shoot match, a bout that both men would go on to regret. He shot in and tried to double leg me, and I sprawled him, and I was able to gut wrench him and pick him up. And when I was trying to throw him over, I started stumbling forward because he was pulling backward at the same time. And we ended up getting caught on the ropes, and they broke us up. And then they say, "Okay, go back again." So now Brock is about 6 feet away from me. I knew in my heart he couldn't get to me. He was gonna have to get closer, but I was wrong. He shot from about 6 feet away and went to my ankle. and he put both hands on my ankle and his shoulder on my knee and hyperextended my knee. And I was out for like 6 to 7 weeks. And I was just on the ground like, oh my God. And he was like, you're hurt. I was like, damn, I can't move. And he was like, they're gonna fire me. I said, nah, they're not gonna fire you. They're gonna fire me. But we got to laugh about it later on, but during that time, he's like a very, very dangerous guy. Thankfully for Brock, he wasn't fired and would go on to have one of the greatest careers in WWE. But this story just goes to show how legit the man who could be the next undisputed WWE Universal Champion truly is. Over to AEW now, as at the latest tapings for Dark, Parker Boudreaux made his debut for the company. Boudreaux's debut comes mere months after WWE released him, believing that he hadn't progressed in the ring in the time he'd been given. The former Harland didn't show up alone, as he is part of the Trust Brothers stable, formed by fellow WWE alum Arya Daivari. The idea of the stable is that Daivari has received his trust fund and is building a stable, with Boudreaux and Slim J as his first recruits. It's been reported that Tony Khan is high on Boudreaux after his Dark debut, which makes sense given that veterans of the industry, including Paul Heyman, anointed him as the next big thing during his WWE tenure. On Wrestling Observer Radio, a discussion about the group was had, and Dave Meltzer talked about possible plans for the trio. Tony Khan had an idea for a trio called the Trust Busters, and the idea is that Arya Daivari is now Ari Daivari after Ari Emanuel, owner of UFC, and of course, super agent and everything, big-time celebrity, and the idea is that on July the 4th, I believe, his trust came in and now he's rich. I know if I was super rich and came into money, the first thing I would do is recruit Slim J. So anyway, he brought in Slim J, who's a good wrestler. He's been around for a long time, never really gotten a shot anywhere. But anyway, he was brought in, and when the third member of the group that was brought in is Parker Boudreaux, who was Harland in WWE, who was obviously recently fired. So they debuted on the Dark tapings, which was yesterday, and I know Tony Khan was very excited about it, so there's that. No decision has been made whether it would be for Ring of Honor or AEW. I mean, there's so many acts in AEW. Ring of Honor, not as many acts, obviously, and Ring of Honor's got 5 matches on the pay-per-view, which is a week away, so they probably need to add, maybe, to get to a 3-hour show and a 1-hour pre-show, which I think is what they're doing. They probably need to add several matches and several more people. You've got Brian Cage, you've got Gates of Agony, Toa Leona, and Kwan, and I don't know who else really as far as who's going to be there. Tony Khan is excited about the latest stable to be in AEW, but with an already bloated roster, it may be in everyone's best interest for the Trust Brothers to make their way to ROH. When Zeta Rainier was cut from NXT, she didn't waste any time in making a name for herself in AEW, competing in the name AQA. Signing with the company this past February, AQA challenged Jade Cargill for the TBS title, a match that didn't go according to plan. AQA was blamed for poor timing in the match, and now fans will be seeing less of her in the ring. On Twitter, the Booker T-trained wrestler said she is stepping away from the ring, citing that mental and physical wear has led to this decision. AQA also thanked all her fans for support, the promoters who have booked her, and her trainers for helping her get this far in the wrestling business. After her match with Cargill, AQA was seldom seen in AEW, but now her time in the company has come to an end, and her time in wrestling looks to be very uncertain as she begins this hiatus from the business. And we're ending today with WWE, as next week will be an extra special edition of Monday Night Raw. The show will not just be the go-home Raw before SummerSlam, but will also take place from WWE's old stomping ground of Madison Square Garden. And now, something else major is coming. In a new report for Sean Ross Sapp, it said that the return of Edge is in the works and that he's on the internal schedule for the show. WWE has planned to bring Edge into New York City for next week's WWE Raw from Madison Square Garden. Thus far, we can't confirm if Edge will actually appear on the July 25th WWE Raw Madison Square Garden show. However, we can confirm that WWE has internal plans to bring him into the show, which will serve as the go-home Raw for SummerSlam in Nashville. There's no word on what he'll do on the show if he does appear, but we imagine he'll look for revenge on the Judgment Day, his former stable who turned on him over a month ago. Since that moment, the stable has fallen down the card, with Rhea Ripley injured and Finn Balor and Damian Priest working on WWE Main Event, so hopefully the return of Edge can breathe new life starting next week. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.